21st of January 2014, the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, General Muhammadu Buhari, addressed a press conference where he attempted to explain the series of controversies surrounding his academic qualifications, especially the secondary school certificate. Again, the APC candidate, rather than provide a conclusive proof that he possesses this minimum qualification, went into a session of blame game and shifting of what ordinarily ought to be his personal responsibility, as he said, and I quote, "I have formally requested my old school, Provisional Secondary School Katsina, which is now known as Government College Katsina, to make available the school's copy of the result of the Cambridge West African School Certificate," end of quote. It is unfortunate that the more General Buhari tries to extricate himself from the crisis, the more he stumbles into a new phase in the unfolding narrative of his obvious complicity in a matter that borders on perjury and which has called his avowed integrity to question. It is quite unfortunate that a few hours after General Buhari's press conference, some documents appeared on various media platforms purporting to be the APC candidate's results released by his old school. Having carefully studied the statement of result signed by the, in quotation marks, school principal and an, in quotation marks, an examination officer of the Government College Katsina, as well as the attached document titled University of Cambridge West Africa School Certificate 1961, we wish to make the following observations and comments. 1. The results sheet, which was attributed to the Cambridge examination body, is clearly a superimposition of one document on another, as you will shortly see in the enlarged image of the result sheet as published. The column lines on the part where names are printed do not align with the blank columns, while there is an introduction of extraneous lines on some other columns. Please see image. Let me just show you that if I... The lines do not join. The lines are higher here than here, so it's not a straight line. That suggests, clearly, not just suggests, it's evidence of the fact that this is not the same document. Another document has been superimposed on top, and that is why you don't have a straight line. It's broken. That's the first thing. The second thing is this. Don't move too far. Okay, I think it's that one. Yes. Go back a bit. Go back a bit. Yes, it's that one. If you look here, you'll find that thick line down there. That suggests that one document was superimposed on another, and that is why it is thicker down that line. Now the third, well, do we stick to those two now? We come to the third one. Okay. The third thing we need to point out is this, and we haven't come to that yet on the text, but let me just point it out because I'll refer to it. The part of the document that refers to his results for maths has been blotted out, which is interesting. And I'll come to why that is interesting in the next, when I read my text. So I just wanted to point those out to you graphically and clearly. I can come back to it if necessary, but let's go. On the mathematics column of the candidate, I pointed that out to you just now. Muhammadu Buhari, who was assumed to have scored an F in the subject. This raises a very fundamental issue of validity in view of the fact that the accompanying result sheet states that, quote, any alteration or erasure renders this statement of result invalid, end of quote. This is the standard practice in all interpretation of documents, especially academic records. The question we put to General Buhari and his party is whether this alteration was done by the University of Cambridge. Now, let me just go back to that so it's very clear. We're talking about, and we all know why. So that's it. In all subjects, except English language, have been carried forward from the 1960 examination, end of quote. The question arising from this is this: when exactly did Buhari sit for all the other subjects claimed to have been passed in the secondary school examination? Our conclusion from all this is that the documents purportedly released by Government College pilot Katsina, upon which the APC presidential candidates hoped to bury the doubt about his eligibility for next month's election, are forged, manipulated, and fraudulently procured. They are therefore untenable in fact and in law. We do not know who the authors and masterminds of this forgery are, but whoever they are, we urge them to come forward and be identified. If they fail to come forward voluntarily, we hereby call on the police and other security agencies to seek them out, find them, arrest them, interrogate them, and prosecute them in accordance with the laws of the land. We reiterate our call on General Buhari to submit himself to the police to answer charges of perjury, having lied on oath about his academic qualifications. This is what a man who claims to represent integrity and due process ought to do in this situation.